Hola amigos, feliz viernes. Hoy es viernes. Yo soy Rory. Estoy contento de estar aquí contigo. You know, if your experience learning Spanish is anything like mine was, you get to this place where you're feeling pretty good. You've got some decent equivalents English to Spanish, and you're kind of trucking along. You can start to communicate what you want to say, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, a friend or a teacher or a patient says, no, you got to have a in front of that. You got to say a ella, a él, a la radióloga, etc. And you're like, what? No, I don't mean to say to him or to her. I just want to say him or her. And you're bumping up against one of the details in Spanish that requires an a that doesn't really mean anything in English. And we call it the a personal. The a personal is one of those things where you do an action to another person, you have to put this extra a in there, and it doesn't really track with English. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, algunos ejemplos para empezar. La pediatra examina a la paciente. So the pediatrician examines the patient. La doctora escucha el corazón y los pulmones. No a in here. What's the difference? The doctor listens to the heart and the lungs. In this case, la pediatra examina a la paciente. She's doing an exam to the patient, to a person. Here it's, of course, the heart and lungs are a part of a person, but it's not the person, it's the heart and the lungs. Does that make sense? Let's look at another one. La mamá mira a su hija. The mom looks at her daughter, or the mom watches her daughter. La doctora examina los ojos, los oídos, la boca y la garganta. So the doctor examines the eyes, the ears, the mouth, and the throat. So la mamá mira, the mom watches her daughter, a su hija. The doctor examines the eyes, ears. So this second one's a lot like that second one, right? It's not a person, it's a body part. La paciente no mira a la doctora. So the patient doesn't watch the doctor. Ella mira los instrumentos que la doctora usa. So she's looking at the instruments that the doctor uses. Okay, so we're seeing this a personal when a subject is doing an action to another person. But when the subject is doing an action to an object, then there's no a personal. So, la a personal, like we said, does not have a translation. La a personal, la pediatra examina a la paciente. The pediatrician examines the patient. There's no to in there, right? La mamá mira a su hija. The mom watches her daughter. There's no to in there. La paciente no mira a la doctora. The patient doesn't watch or look at the doctor. Okay, bien. Entonces, la a personal doesn't have a translation into English. This is what makes it so hard. So, when do you have to use it? La explicación técnica, so the technical explanation for using the a personal is when the direct object of a verb is a person. Okay, that's like grammar speak. It makes sense to like 10% of you, okay? The practical explanation is that when a subject does an action to or onto another person versus onto an inanimate object. So when you do an action to a person, you need to use the a personal. So let's practicar un poquito, and with some of this practice, you're going to see the differences here. Okay, so la enfermera lleva su identificación en el cordón. So what we're trying to say here is the nurse wears her identification on her lanyard. Okay, so the nurse wears her ID on her lanyard. Are we going to need a personal here or not? Is it to a person or is the action to an inanimate object? So, la enfermera lleva su identificación. Here's the action, lleva, wears. The object is identificación, the ID. Is that animate or inanimate? It's inanimate. So we don't need una A personal. Nothing there. Let's look at this next one. La enfermera lleva su paciente a radiografía. So now we're saying the nurse takes. So llevar could be wear, and it can also be takes from one place to the next. La enfermera lleva su paciente a radiografía. The nurse takes her patient to radiology. Okay, the same verb is llevar, that's our action. Now, is she doing it to an animate object or inanimate object? She's doing it to a person? She's doing it to a person. So we have to say la enfermera lleva a su paciente a radiografía. Okay? Número 3, el técnico de radiografía recibe su paciente. So now we want to say the X-ray tech receives their patient. Okay? Receive is the verb, and what's the direct object of receive? The patient. Person or not? Person. So we need the a. El técnico de radiografía recibe a su paciente. El técnico de radiografía recibe las instrucciones del doctor. So the X-ray tech receives instructions from the doctor. Inanimate object, instructions. So we're not going to use the a personal. Okay, perfecto. I think you're tracking. Let's keep looking at another couple examples. El doctor lee las radiografías. The doctor reads the X-rays is what we want to say. Does it need a personal or no? Nah, because las radiografías aren't people, right? El doctor informa la paciente del diagnóstico. So now the doctor informs the patient of the diagnosis. A personal or no? The doctor is informing the patient, right? So that's to a person. El doctor informa a la paciente del diagnóstico. Another one. La paciente escucha el doctor. So we want to hear the patient. We want to say the patient listens to the doctor. Is it going to require an a personal or no? She's doing it to the doctor, right? She's listening to the doctor. And so, yes, we need a el doctor. Now, something special here. When you have a and el, this is one of the few contractions in Spanish that we have. And so that a plus el is going to become al. So, la paciente escucha al doctor. Listens to the doctor. The a and the el combine to al. Okay, how about this one? La paciente hace preguntas para entender mejor. So the patient asks questions to understand better. Is this one going to require a personal or no? No, because she's not asking people, she's asking questions, right? Hace preguntas, no a personal. All right, speaking of questions, ¿tienes preguntas? Do you have questions about it? If you do, post them in the comments section below. And while you're posting, actually take a second to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's how we're able to continue sharing this to other people and other folks trying to work on their medical Spanish. So thank you. Gracias por aprender español conmigo. Juntos mejoramos comunidades. Together we truly are improving communities. Para más español, head over to the website commongroundinternational.com. And if you'd like to take a medical Spanish terminology test, head over to Certified Spanish, create your free account, and you can take as many free medical Spanish terminology tests as you would like. Okay, amigos, que estén muy bien. Have a great day y nos vemos pronto. Ciao.